I've decided to do an experiment where I put every single Premier League club in the exact same football stadium, just to see if anything changes. I've done 3 saves at each club's home stadium and 3 saves at Wembley. I'm going to get the average and just see if anything changes between them. This is the season preview for the home stadiums. This is before I've changed anything, and you can see it just looks like a normal Football Manager season preview. But then when we go to the Wembley season preview, for some reason Wolves managed to drop 3 places, but everyone else stays the same. I'm not sure what did this, because no other settings have changed. Wolves have all the same players, everything else, but for some reason, yeah, they've just dropped down. What's cool about this experiment is that when I look to the fixtures for the Premier League for the Wembley simulation, more or less every day there was only one team playing. And this happened through most of the season. However, as you start to get on, for some reason, I don't know how this works, but you get 2 games on at the same time, both playing at Wembley, both 8 o'clock kickoffs, for example, at this one that you can see here. From this point on, you start to see it a lot more frequently. It just randomly pops up. I mean, at some point you get like 3 teams playing on the same time, 4 teams playing at the same time. But that's just crazy how Football Manager realised that it needed to be different at first, but somewhere along the line it just blurred and now you just got loads of teams playing together. Not sure how this worked. So, if we start with the Wembley attempts, this is the first season that I played out. It seems like an average season for Football Manager, I'd say. Everton, I get the odd saves, but Everton do different things, so it's a bit hard to tell with this if this actually changed anything. Palace seems to be higher than I normally see Palace in Football Manager. If you've seen some of my simulations, you'll see Palace always seem to get relegated no matter what. So them being 10th without a player controlling them seems a bit strange for Football Manager, because, yeah. Everything else, West Ham getting relegated though, that's a little off. Other than the odd couple of bits, it seems like a generic Football Manager table so far. So let's move on to the second attempt. So in the second attempt, it seems fairly similar. United have dropped down a fair bit this time. Everton have dropped down. That feels more normal for Everton. Bournemouth have done quite well. Forest have done about the same. Luton have managed to survive this season. Straight at the bottom, what did I say? Palace always tend to go down in Football Manager for some reason. No surprise that they've done it again. Only 3 wins though. I wonder if that's something to do with the Wembley effect. They're not a Selhurst anymore. It doesn't seem too off so far. So, on to the third attempt. Villa have had 3 good seasons. Each one have been getting better. They've put Wolves 6th, and I don't think that's going to happen. Everton, again, I still feels too high. Chelsea feels realistic after what happened last season. Newcastle dropped down a fair bit. Palace only got relegated once out of these 3 Wembley seasons, so that's a big improvement for what Football Manager normally does to Palace. And yeah, okay, so this all kind of feels sort of realistic. Not fully, but mostly realistic. So the best thing to do now is go look at what Football Manager did for 3 normal seasons. So, at everyone's home stadiums, Everton's managed to make the Champions League. Newcastle and Villa are still performing well and getting top half finishes. Tottenham have dropped down loads being at their stadium. West Ham have improved. Other than that, it all feels pretty normal again. Arsenal have obviously won. So Arsenal didn't win a single title in the 3 Wembley seasons, but instantly in the first season at the Emirates, they've managed to win the title. The second attempt, it feels all kind of normal. Palace getting relegated again. This is why I say Football Manager just doesn't rate Palace. But yeah, this just feels mostly normal. So for attempt number 3, it's the club's home stadiums. Arsenal managed to win it again, so that's 2 out of 3 compared to 0 out of 3 at Wembley. Newcastle got 4th. Everton they really rate Everton playing at home. I mean, in attempt number 2 it wasn't as great, but it was still a top half finish. Palace mid-table. Oh, United 8th, Villa 9th. Obviously, this is Football Manager, so it's a simulation and you get different results each time. But just seeing Arsenal manage to win 2 titles at Emirates compared to nothing at Wembley. And then you see the likes of Villa managing to perform better at Wembley than they can at Villa Park. So what I've done is I've made tables for the Wembley results so I can get them together side by side and then get an average finishing position for each club. So this is attempt number 1, attempt number 2, and attempt number 3. Now, you can probably start seeing this and get a rough idea of where the average finish might be for certain teams. Before I get into the average for the Wembley results, here's the results for everyone's home stadiums over their 3 seasons. This average table for the real stadiums doesn't seem too far off. Now, as a Palace fan, I don't really like seeing Palace down at 16th, but that's what I see could happen this season, potentially. I don't think we're going to be finishing like near the top unless we get some good signings for the rest of the transfer window. Wolves, I don't think Wolves are going to be doing that great either this season, to be honest. But yeah, the rest of that, maybe not Arsenal winning the league, but after last season, you never know. City aren't going to finish 3rd, no chance. And Everton are definitely not going to be finishing 4th. I don't even know why Football Manager even thinks Everton are that good. Now, moving on to the actual average, we can see where everyone finished compared to the average real table. So Liverpool have obviously gained 1 spot, City have 1 spot, and Arsenal have lost 2. And then you got like the biggest change would be Everton losing 5 spots because in Wembley they don't rate them being a good team. Brentford and Tottenham were the best climbers, both +4. Seemingly at the bottom it doesn't really matter where you play because Luton and Sheffield United both got relegated either way. Burnley lost a fair few places in this Wembley results, but Bournemouth managed to only just get 1 higher spot in the average table. So what I'm taking away from this experiment seems to be that what stadium you play at doesn't seem to have that big of a deal. They've all had equal opportunity at the exact same stadiums every single match. So what I've taken away from this experiment so far is that what stadium you play at doesn't really matter too much. So what I've taken away from this simulation so far is that the Wembley results, even though they're all playing in the same stadium and it's all more equal footing, they're all finishing roughly within about 2 spots of their real life simulation attempts as well that I did. So other than the results from the teams all playing in the same stadium, finances are a big part of this simulation as well. Obviously certain teams are jumping from small stadiums to a huge 90,000 seater stadium. And for this I've picked 1 team. Obviously the team I'm going to pick is my team, Crystal Palace, just to look at their finances. Now for this I've taken the finances from the home attempt number 1 from Crystal Palace. So the gate receipts to Selhurst Park is 7 million. And now that's the main one that we're going to focus on. Match day income as well, let's keep an eye on that, 1 million. So when we look at the Wembley results, we can see the gate receipts are doubled and the match day income has increased by 400,000. But even though they're now playing at a 90,000 seater stadium compared to a 26,000 seater stadium, the attendance hasn't shot up to like 90,000. You're still getting average attendances for the kind of game. We can see the 53,444 was the highest attendance, and that was against Brighton, who's their biggest rival. So even just managing to increase a little bit, sometimes it's about 5,000, sometimes it's about 15,000 extra, but it's gained them double the amount of gate receipts. So financially, they do appear to be a lot better off. So to sum it up, it does feel like not much changes. Obviously financially, they get a lot more money paying. Obviously financially, the smaller clubs will get a lot more money playing at Wembley. But generally, it doesn't seem like it has that much of an effect on the table, all playing at the same clubs. So maybe if I did this experiment again, the next thing to change would be give everyone the exact same training facilities. See if that would add anything slightly different to the game. But ultimately, I'd say this experiment failed. So if you want to go check out another Football Manager video, last week I swapped the English Premier League and the Scottish Premiership, to see how the teams perform in the others leagues. And if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.